This is a HeadGum podcast.
Folks, it's time to get Quip. Me and Joe do it. It makes toothbrushing easy. Brushing your teeth, just like making love. The kind of thing you don't really know if you're doing it right till you start doing it right. And folks, Quip is brushing done right. It's the new electric toothbrush that packs just the right amount of vibrations into a slimmer design at a fraction of the cost of bulkier traditional electric brushes. It has guiding pulses that alert you when to switch sides, making brushing just the right amount of effortless. It's true, you really don't have to think about it. It lets you know when to move on to another quadrant of your mouth. Quip also comes with a mount that suctions right to your mirror and unsticks to use as a cover for hygienic travel anywhere, whether it's going in your gym bag or your carry-on. And because the thing that cleans your mouth should also be clean, Quip's subscription plan, or subquiption plan, surprised I didn't think of that, I'll have to let them know, refreshes your brush on a dentist-recommended schedule. They deliver new brush heads every 3 months for just $5, including free shipping worldwide. Quip's backed by a network of over 10,000 dental professionals, including dentists, hygienists, and dental students. Most toothbrushes don't get named one of Time Magazine's best inventions of the year, but Quip did. It's time to find out for yourself why. Quip starts at just $25, and if you go to getquip.com/CU right now, you'll get your first refill pack free with a Quip electric toothbrush. That's your first refill pack free at getquip.com/CU. GETQUIP.com/CU. Folks, it's going to be love at first brush.
Welcome to We'll See You in Hell, your favorite podcast discussing, reviewing, and commenting on horror, fantasy, and sci-fi, both contemporary and classic. Very exciting show today. We are doing, this is a cutting-edge episode. We're right on the fingers on the pulse of pop culture. We are about to do a review of Thor Ragnarok, which we have just seen.
Just out of the theater up at the Americana here in beautiful Glendale.
So, Pat.
Yes.
Why don't you get us started here?
Okay. How you doing, Joe, for starter? I mean, a little romance first before just forcing it in?
I just thought you could say the opening phrase, and then we could get rolling down.
Oh, sure.
That's
I
all.
know what you mean. I think you're talking about...
And then I'll play with your puss.
Oh, my God. I think you're talking about getting on with the show, and also on with the Joe.
Probably your worst one you've ever done.
That was my least favorite for sure. I didn't have anything in the hopper. I just started talking, and that's what came out. And I'm sorry. But I was reading today, there was a discussion on the Facebook page, which I always encourage you to check out, about what the finest On With the Joes were. And they were citing, somebody cited the one from the Christine episode. I don't even remember what these were.
Sure.
But there was a lot of talk about what were the best, and it intimidated me, frankly. I was trying to live up to former glories, and in doing so, I created what I would say is unquestionably the worst On With the Joe I've ever done.
Yeah, you didn't live up to shit that just then.
Yeah, it's that fear of failure. It'll cripple you.
Yeah.
It'll cripple you.
And this is a special episode also because this is our first shout-out episode of this month. We'll, as we promised, do them on the second and fourth episode of each month. Bonus episode will drop at the end of the month. Thank you again to all of the Patreon people out there supporting us and all the people up on the Facebook discussion forum and all that stuff. We really, 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 really can't believe the support, and we love it. If you want to check out the Patreon, pledge page. It's patreon.com/WSYI8. No, shit. Patreon.com/WS.
IYH pod.
No, I said it right the first time.
YIH pod. We'll see you in hell.
Yes. WSYIH pod. That's it.
Jesus
All
Christ.
right. So go check that
we are
out.
stone sober, folks.
We are stone sober.
It's like in Kingpin when he's throwing up and he's like, I thought you weren't drinking. And he goes, I don't throw up when I drink. I throw up when I don't. That's where we're at.
The only
we don't throw up.
The only sad line in the whole movie.
It is, but it's great.
Yeah.
Just great.
Yeah. Now Woody Harrelson, as we saw at the theater tonight, is playing LBJ in the new Rob Reiner film.
Well, I'm going to see it. My buddy Alan Mendelbaum produced it. He's a great man.
Uh-huh.
Just a little shout out. But I was telling Joe, I fucking hate biopics. You know, I hate biopics. And the more prosthetics, the more I hate them. And they got Woody, all made up. The worst makeup I think I've ever seen in a movie, I got two. And I think they probably both either were nominated for or won Best Makeup. Because Best Makeup, usually the award goes to most makeup.
Right.
Which it shouldn't be. Here we go. Number 1, A Beautiful Mind. When they age up Crow and Connolly at the end, who daddy? That's some rough old age makeup.
I don't even remember what they looked like at the end.
It's very bad. If you're doing old age makeup, just a little suggestion is all you need. You know?
Yeah.
And then the other unquestionable winner for me is a picture called J. Edgar.
That's my number
that
one.
Clint Eastwood directed, where every time DiCaprio would open his mouth, like a hunk of wax would fall off like into his coffee, and they would just keep rolling. Clint was like, we got the shot.
Yeah, that movie looked like he went to Target, and there was like a... You could be J. Edgar for Halloween kit. It didn't
Nixon
look good.
mask. And then they like ironed it. And made it look like J.
It didn't look good.
No.
The
looked like Clint was like, here, I took a picture of my right ball. Just make his face look like that.
And there's no excuse for bad makeup. I don't get why. I don't get why
age.
Old people makeup is still so hard to do. I mean, they can make people have two faces and alien heads and all this shit.
Like Two-Face, for example.
Like Two-Face.
Yeah.
Now I know they threw a little CG in there, a little
Sure.
green screen. But my point is like, why the hell is old people makeup so hard to do? Also, why don't you just, like, for the end of A Beautiful Mind and that kind of situation, just hire 2 old actors.
Sure.
To play them old. Do
Sure.
the Saving Private Ryan thing. That's not Damon on the bookends. It's an old man on the bookends.
Well, and like, okay, so Raising Arizona, easily a top 5 movie for me. One of my all-time favorites. Coen Brothers. There's a brief scene where Nicolas Cage and Holly Hunter, they flash forward into the future while Cage is dreaming. It's the final monologue of the movie. And they flash forward to being elderly with a bunch of children. And that movie was made in 1987 on a budget of probably $1 million max. And the makeup looks fantastic.
Right.
You can tell it's Cage and Hunter, but they look great.
Right.
What went wrong? And it's the same with special effects. Like Gremlins looks great, 1984, the effects. And they try to do it now, and you're like, I see a blue, like, sheen around these creatures. I thought that in the new Planet of the Apes. And as cool as those effects are, there were moments where I was like, you thought that was ready to hit the theaters?
Well, they're different effects, Pat.
I know.
You're talking animatronics versus CGI.
I just liked them more. That's all I can say.
I get it.
There's a little homespun quality that I like.
I get it. There's a word you don't hear every day. Homespun.
Homespun. I know when I'm
that
home,
was my
I like
rap
to get
name.
spun. What's spun? Speed?
Huh?
If you're spun, like they made a movie called Spun with Jason Schwartzman. Are you on Speed?
It was Crank, I believe. Not Crank. It was Meth, I think.
Meth.
You're
What's
spun out.
Crank?
Crank
Other
is
than a Jason Statham vehicle.
Crank is a cheap. I think Crank is meth. Crank is a cheap cocaine.
Okay.
Like a cocaine alternate that's very cheap, where the high lasts. I think that's what meth is too, right?
Okay.
Isn't that what meth is? Or you smoke? No, meth's like you smoke it. Meth is different. Spun was about meth, though, because Mickey Rourke's trailer blows up at the end.
Yes.
And that's a meth thing.
Not a great movie.
Yeah, it was one of those things where it was like, watch everybody you love take a dark turn, and it just wasn't that interesting.
Yeah. Wouldn't you like to see all these actors on meth? I was like, no.
Right.
Frankly, no, I don't.
I will say this about biopics. I think the description for every biopic should be, hey, you know how you love this guy?
Yeah.
Well, watch this now.
Yeah.
I've never seen one where you walk away going, I like the guy more.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just...
Well, as we get older, and it's going to be like, you know, probably Woody Harrelson again playing Tom Petty in 10 years or something. It's just, like, even, as much as I love Tom Petty, I'd rather watch a documentary. If you're just going to be telling me the beats of their life and also fictionalizing it somewhat, as most biopics do, and everybody's just begging for an Oscar... I'd rather read a book or watch a documentary.
They won't make a Petty movie. It's not scandalous enough.
Well, just wait. Who knows? I hope not.
What do you think it'll be called? My money's on Won't Back Down.
Obviously Won't Back Down.
Well?
Or American Guy?
Well, I mean, couldn't it be Stop Dragging Me Around?
Stop Dragging My Heart Around.
Or how about this? Wildflower, the Tom Petty story.
Sure. Wildflowers, the story of Tom Petty. There's a fantastic 4-hour documentary that I don't think we've ever discussed in here called Running Down a Dream.
Oh, that's a good title for a movie,
if you want to really learn about Tom Petty, that's the way to do it. Or his biography, which I've been 12 pages into for roughly 6 months.
What's his biography called?
I think just Petty.
Petty.
Yeah.
Whatever. This would be a good name for the movie. Petty Bastard.
Well, sure.
And then you do a play on words.
Yeah.
Through the whole movie, they go, you know, Tom, just because Petty's a suitable name for a guy as petty as you. I couldn't think of another word for petty.
Right.
But you do that kind of thing. You know.
I got it.
I'm very tired, Pat. I was real tired on the last one, but that was from
Well, it's 11 p.m. on a Tuesday. I mean, I'm certainly more amped up than I was Saturday night. I didn't know if I was going to stay awake. There were some people did enjoy Monday's podcast, but there was a lot of talk about how we sounded perhaps suicidal. And I got to tell you, folks, you're not way off.
It was. Pat and I went to dinner that night. I don't know if we talked about this part on the podcast, but Pat and I went to dinner with our buddy David Krumholtz. I don't think I said a word through the entire meal.
Except, of course.
Oh, that's right. Except, of course, not medium rare.
Not medium rare. Yes. And then it was good that you didn't speak after that. Yeah. Folks, I'd like to invite you over to one of my favorite night spots, Pat's Movie Corner. And believe it or not, even though I had nothing a few days ago...
Wait, I got to stop you. I'm sorry. We forgot to do something.
What?
Before Pat's Movie Corner. We forgot.
We jerked off together.
No. Ready? Get ready to do
I wiped it on you.
Get ready to do the sound effect. Folks, we're coming to you live from the Hog House.
Oh, God. I don't like this bit.
Why?
There's something about anytime you say hog or pig, which you do a lot, refer to people as pigs, it just really rubs me the wrong way.
Well, we're not referring to anybody as a pig right now. We're just saying the hog. We're calling our studio the Hog House.
I don't like it.
All right, well, then
the Hog House indicate, especially at this time, we should be a little more enlightened.
That with what?
With, Hog House. It's not. Would you invite a woman over to a hog house?
What are we talking about? I'm not talking. Yes.
I want our female listeners to feel comfortable entering our world of.
So you think hog sounds like a derogatory female thing?
No, I don't think that either.
Oh,
I just think that it's off-putting. Hog House. Would you go see a movie called Hog House?
I think you're being sexist for thinking it's going to turn off the female listeners. They can think.
Look, I don't think the men listeners are loving it either. I'll tell you what I didn't see one comment on Facebook. Hog House.
You will now.
Yeah, now we will.
Put it to a vote, folks. Do you want the Hog House bit to continue or not?
Please don't want it to continue. Folks, I proposed a question to Joe. We were walking out of the theater, and there was an ad for some very boring new Mark Wahlberg, Kevin Spacey movie, Together at Last. And I think Michelle Williams was in it too. Anyway, I don't know anything about this movie, and I think they're pretty much burying the release because of the new, quote, allegations about Kevin Spacey. Although I think in his case, he's starting to admit them.
Well, no, he kind of admitted it right off the bat. He was just like, I was drunk. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Also, I'm gay.
Yeah, he deserved the shit he got for that.
Absolutely.
That fucking apology was dog shit.
But I proposed the question to Joe. What if, well, let's say Kevin Spacey was a much bigger star, like it was the American Beauty days or whatever. Let's say it is American Beauty, and American Beauty is about to come out, and in the movie, which I forgot about, of course, but in the movie he's lusting after an underage young lady.
Who he does
Suvari.
fuck at one point, doesn't he?
They get close. They don't fuck. He masturbates to her, and then they're about to, but they don't actually do it. They're real close.
And she's like supposed to be like 16.
Yeah,
or
he
something?
takes her shirt off, and you see nipples and everything. But okay, so let's say today.
Nobody's talking about that.
Let's say, let's say it's that time period. Okay, it's about to come out. Spacey's pegged to win. No, pegged's a bad choice of words. Spacey is earmarked to win Best Actor. American Beauty's got a lot of buzz. It's going to be a big hit. And a week before it comes out, these Spacey allegations hit. Could the producers of the film sue Kevin Spacey for ruining their Oscar chances, for tainting their great movie?
I don't think they can, because Tom Cruise didn't get sued when he blew like all the promotion for War of the Worlds. Because
He blew that by jumping on the couch?
Well, he did that, and then that was when he started like talking about Scientology everywhere. And remember Spielberg was like, "What are you doing?
Right.
These are like promotional interviews. You're supposed to be promoting the movie."
Right.
But he never got in trouble. So
It's weird that you can't. There must be some protection. But like that was my other example.
Well, it's like saying I hired a guy to do my taxes, and I found out, he accosted somebody once, and you can't sue him for that. You just fire him.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
All right.
I would think. I mean, that's my guess.
I got to tell you, like, okay, so I mean, obviously this is not the case, but like, it's been my dream to run my own show. I'm running my own show. It's going to come out. This will never happen. Somebody on the cast has some allegations, and the show never gets released. They're like, oh, we can't even release this thing now. Put it on the shelf. Of course, I can't sue, but how do I not just be angry for the rest of my life? I guess go do something else.
Well, you keep working, Pat.
I don't know. This is where my mind goes into like worst case scenario.
Well, I mean, but if you're going to be mad at everybody in the world that's screwed your life up.
Yeah, where do I start? Form a line.
I don't think. But this is my impression of Mark Wahlberg and Kevin Spacey on their way to the press junket for the movie.
Yeah.
What? Why'd you do that, man? Why'd you do that? Why'd you?
Yeah.
Why'd you regret that kid, man? Why'd you do that, man? That's Mark Wahlberg.
Are you also going to do Kevin Spacey, or do you want me to do it?
I don't know how to do Kevin Spacey.
Okay.
I don't barely know how to do a Mark Wahlberg.
I only know how to do him in House of Cards. I tell you, Freddie, this house just got a whole lot cards here.
I'm going to make a Kevin Spacey biopic.
All right.
And I'm going to call it Inner Spacey.
Inner Spacey.
The
about
dark secrets of a leading man.
I tell you this. Here's my impression of Kevin Spacey on the way to that press junket with Mark Wahlberg. Hey, speaking of press and junket, zip. He unzips Mark Wahlberg's fly. Wahlberg beats the shit out of him because he's a notorious homophobe and racist. Not allegedly. He once beat an Asian man within an inch of his life. You hear the other day he said he renounces the film Boogie Nights?
He didn't say he renounced it. He
He's
said
apologizing to God or whatever?
Yeah, he has regrets in his career, and Boogie Nights is a regret. Guy wouldn't have a career if it wasn't for Boogie Nights.
The only time I've ever really loved the guy is in Boogie Nights, and then he's been okay in things before. But
I love him in The Good Guys or whatever that.
The other guys,
The Other Guys, I think, is a very funny movie.
It's all right. Folks, speaking of movies,
Sorry, the movie corner.
let me take you to the movie corner. And I did watch a couple things because I have developed insomnia again. It was gone, and now it's back, baby. Insomnia. Movie I like, Al Pacino, Robin Williams. That's a good one.
I find it painfully boring.
Everyone finds it boring.
The performances are good.
Thought it was boring in a theater, and I watched it again, and I loved it. And there's nothing funnier to me than how the trailer starts with Al Pacino, who plays like Ron Dormer. And the trailer starts, he wakes up, he looks like he's been to hell and back, picks up the phone, and he goes, Dormer here. Dormer here. Like the worst voice ever. I guess he's like hungover or something.
All I remember is
Hilarious.
the whole movie, him like taping the windows. Be like, I can't get the goddamn light out of the room.
Yeah.
And then at the
Oh,
end.
yeah, he can't, that's right. He can't sleep.
Finally, at the end, the partner or whatever is like, it's pitch black in here, Al.
Yeah.
But he shouldn't say Al, whatever his name is.
Dormer.
So what did you watch, Pat?
I watched the first episode of a show I really thoroughly enjoyed called Tales from the Tour Bus. And it is on Cinemax. I watched the first and half of the second.
This is the Judd, or not Judd, the Mike Judge show.
Judd Judge. Mike Judge.
Yes.
And basically, I am fascinated by, always have been, by outlaw country. The country music of the 70s of just like raging alcoholics and guys with like extreme coke problems, pill problems, etc. Making music about getting fucked up. And it's a genre of music I love. And each week this focuses on a new person, and it's a documentary. It's like a behind the music type deal, but they animate it, and then occasionally they flash to the real people and show you. So they animate like some of the crazier stories, but also the interviews with the people weirdly are animated, and they add funny little touches to them. The heart of it, of course, is all these great stories. So I watched the one about Johnny Paycheck.
Johnny Paycheck.
He did take this job and shove it.
Okay.
I'm most excited about the two-parter on George Jones and Tammy Wynette, who are two of my favorite singers of all time, who had like a notoriously horrific relationship, and he would like drive to get liquor on a tractor because they took his car away and all. So the stories are great, and the people they interview are hilarious. There's a 5-minute detour in the Johnny Paycheck one where they all talk about how much he loved to be naked and how tiny his dick was. And then this one guy's like, boy, I tell you, I was always surprised because you'd think he'd be ashamed of such a penis. He goes, he had such a teeny weeny peeny that I always wanted to make fun of it, but I was afraid that if I did, that Johnny would point out my teeny weeny peeny. Like, these guys are just like really, really hilarious.
So these guys live to tell the tales.
They live to tell the tales, and it's kind of moving. It shares a little of DNA with like a drunk history. They're just like telling a funny story, and then at the end, it's like usually kind of moving because they all talk about how they miss their friend or whatever. But it's great. The second one is Jerry Lee Lewis, who was, of course, married to his 13-year-old cousin. They're wild stories.
Didn't bury the guy's work back then.
No. Have you seen you see that biopic, Great Balls of Fire?
Yeah.
Dennis Quaid and Winona Ryder. Ryder didn't even meet her, folks. I mean,
it's disturbing. The scene
Yeah.
where they have sex for the first time is disturbing. And it's got probably my favorite biopic line of all time in it.
okay.
It's when Dennis Quaid goes, "If I'm going to hell, I'm going there playing the piano."
Sure.
And he like has that like rooster walk
Yeah.
and hair that he struts out of the room. And at the end of the movie, you're supposed to still like him. Like it's never like, look at the mistakes this man has made. They're little blips. Like
Right. That movie's PG-13.
Yeah.
Because I remember any movie released in the 80s and mid 90s, I knew its rating
If I'm
and
not
whether or not I could see it.
if I'm not mistaken, nobody's mad she's 13. They're just mad that she's his cousin, right?
Look, I would say equal issues. I mean, not equal issues, but there's a lot to be concerned about there.
Well, of course, but my point is
There's a lot of fish in the sea. You know?
Do they ever say in the movie like she's only 13? No, they do say that. They do say that. But I think the bigger concern they have is that it's his cousin.
Yeah, it was a different time. Didn't Randy Quaid play his brother in that? I might have dreamed that.
Randy Quaid, he might have been in. No, I don't think so.
All right,
I don't remember. Just watched a thing on YouTube. Famous celebrities who eventually ended up homeless.
Okay.
Randy Quaid was in there.
Oh, sure.
Of course.
I listened to Chevy Chase on Gilbert Gottfried's podcast, and he was like, he just was like Randy, on all these movies. Like, he wouldn't drink. He didn't do drugs. Like, he just didn't know what happened. It was kind of a sad tale.
Well,
I guess it's his wife.
I think he seems to be like sort of bipolar or something.
Right.
Or is it manic? I think manic is the term. Whatever that is, where you have like the extreme paranoia about like being hunted by like the government and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because that's all it is. Like he's like the Hollywood. There's a hit squad in Hollywood. Like they're framing all these people. They're murdering people. I had to leave the country because they set me up.
Right.
And I think he just needs medication.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right.
Hey Pat, I'm obviously not a doctor.
I didn't say you were.
I
want to make a quick correction to last week, because very often I listen and realize we've made dozens of mistakes, and I say I'll correct it, and I never do. Always double check anything we say on this podcast. But I claim to have been in the play Noises Off, and in fact, it was the year before me, I think, because when I really started thinking about it, I was not in it. I was in something very similar called Mixed Nuts, which was a theatrical adaptation of the Adam Sandler and Steve Martin film Mixed Nuts.
Yeah, that's an unwatchable movie.
I always loved the movie. That was a time when Steve Martin could do no wrong, and Sandler being in the mix, and Juliette Lewis and Liev Schreiber, and it's a great cast.
See, I don't agree. That was the Steve Martin slump, in my opinion.
Certainly a slump.
That was during like Leap of Faith, when it was like, what's going on here?
Well, Simple Twist of Fate, and then he started doing those like tiny dramas. But Mixed Nuts at least was a comedy-ish. I think it's an underrated Christmas movie. I liked it. And for some reason, it was adapted into a high school play. But it was very like fast-paced and people running around. I wasn't in Noises Off. Maybe I wanted to be and imagined it, but I didn't want to lie to you people.
It's a hell of a mistake to make.
It really was. I was in a lot of plays in high school, and I try to block everything pre-18 out of my head because it was so rough. But I wasn't in it.
Yeah, I was telling our friend Pinkstone today about how you didn't know what Dragon's Lair was.
Not familiar with it, no.
And his only words were, Missouri sucks.
Well,
I was like, yeah, I guess so, man. Like, that's so weird. Like, we both were in disbelief that you had never come across this game.
My mom never would have let me like go to an arcade and throw my money away like that, which is odd because now she loves gambling as much as I. But I would play pinball at the bowling alley while she would bowl in her league.
Uh-huh.
But I would always get like $1 to last the night. And then she would be like, you have Nintendo at home. Why do you need to do this? I never played any games. I just didn't do it.
Did you play your Nintendo, though?
I did. I played Paperboy. I played a game called Tubin. And I played Mario 1, 2, and 3.
All right. Well, don't talk to me like I don't know what they are, Pat. I
All
know
right.
the games.
Well,
I know the goddamn
I didn't know
games.
about Tubin.
What else you got for the movie corner? I only have one thing.
Speaking of Winona, Great Balls of Fire, I watched the end of Stranger Things, and I take back what I just said on the last week's episode. I felt it started strong, meandered. The 7th episode that everyone despises was stupid. I'll give you that, where she like meets her. Well, I'll say meets her, and you'll know if you've seen it, and you won't if you don't. But the last two were phenomenal, very exciting, particularly the second to last one. I really loved them both. I thought they were two of the best episodes of the whole series.
I love the whole thing, but I already talked about it last week.
Yes, and I think we've still not spoiled it, which is good. Other than that, I didn't watch anything, but that's not bad.
No, not at all. I dipped into my Cinema Cult Blu-rays.
Yes.
that I bought when I was in Australia.
Okay. Good day, mate.
Just
right?
to give a little free plug to them. Cinema Cult, great Blu-ray label. If you can find them, check them out. They're no-frills Blu-rays. There's no special features, but they're really immaculate transfers. And because there's no special features, they're quite affordable, and the packaging is always really nice. So I think they're well worth the purchase. I have most of them. I might have all of them at this point, but I watched. You ready?
Oh, okay. That was actually on Turner Movie Classics one night, and I didn't watch it. Yeah.
I watched it.
Okay.
And I liked it.
All right.
I hate that that's the title. It looks cool on the box, but then when somebody says, "What are you watching tonight?" and you got to go,
yeah, I guess if you're ordering a ticket, you're like one for like Superman.
No, it's not with an H, so you can go one for hiss.
Right.
It's just S's.
Right.
Anyway, it's a fun movie. It stars Dirk Benedict.
Who the hell's Dirk Benedict?
Face Man from the A-Team, the original A-Team TV show.
Never seen the A-Team. So I'm sorry.
I don't understand.
I'm sorry.
You really missed out.
I know. Never seen Magnum P.I. Never seen MacGyver. Never seen...
Fuck those shows. The A-Team is where it was at.
All right.
Magnum P.I. was like the A-Team for your dad.
Okay,
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's your dad's A-Team. MacGyver was like hipster.
Well, now Blue Bloods is...
Yeah. MacGyver was hipster A-Team, you know?
He was a hipster?
Well, no, but it was always like, I'm going to solve the problem with a leaf and a paperclip.
Right.
Whereas the A-Team was like, they were firing fucking rockets and machine guns and shit. Anyway. Dirk Benedict plays a college student who falls or becomes the assistant of what turns out to be mad scientist who specializes in snakes. I can't remember what that term is for a snake scientist. And
Orenthal or something?
I think it is.
Ornithologist?
I think that's a bird guy. Right?
Well, I guess fuck me, right, Joe?
Shove it up your ass.
Trying to help out.
Hey, if it's not helpful, don't help.
I don't think an ornithologist is a bird person. Why don't we just look?
Look it
Keep
up while I
talking, I'll
describe
look it
the
up.
goddamn movie, please. Can I do my turn?
Go ahead.
The scientist is injecting Dirk Benedict with these, serums, these venom sort of serums to make him. What's that called when you get injected with something so you're not susceptible to it anymore?
A antidote.
No, that's fixes it. Like something that makes you like immune to it.
A serum?
I feel like that's not. I'm saying
Vaccine?
Serum. Maybe vaccine. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, he's giving him these venom injections because he's like, look, you're going to get bit in the lab. You don't want to die. And then you realize eventually the injections are not to make Dirk Benedict immune to snake bites, but to turn him, in fact, into a snake.
Okay.
With a man's brain.
Does he talk?
When he's the snake man, he's able to talk.
Okay.
But then at the end, he becomes a full-on snake, and then he can't talk. He's just a snake at that point.
Okay.
So sorry if I spoiled the movie for all of you, but that's how the cookie crumbles.
Joe, I'm surprised you didn't know what it is called because it's called herpetology. I thought that would be sort of a specialty of yours.
Is that a joke about my dick?
Yeah. Herpetology is the study
nice.
of reptiles and amphibians.
Herpetology, you fucking pervert.
A herpetology specializing in snakes could call themselves a serpentologist. That's just made up. Or an ophidiologist.
Mm-hmm.
Ornithologist is a study of birds, Joe.
Thank you. And can you please tell the audience that I don't have herpes?
I mean, I don't know. You can tell them. I don't know.
The amount of times I've raw dogged you, you would have had it
I
by
didn't
now.
get them. That's true.
Joe, scary stuff? You got anything?
No, I'm still riding the high from getting it right once.
Fair enough. I don't have anything either because we just did the other podcast a day and a half ago, actually.
Yeah.
So I'm still playing the Order 1886, and I've played a bit more since the last show, and I can't tell you enough how much I'm enjoying the game. So we can move through Joe's scary stuff.
Great.
And we can get right down to the review at hand. Thor
Ragnarok.
Ragnarok? Yes.
It sounds to me like I always want to go, what's that song, like Ragnarok, so don't stop the rock. Remember that shitty
Planet Rock, the Africa Bambaataa song?
No, we're falling apart here.
What are you singing?
Can't stop the rock. It was in like every trailer for a while. It's not Daft Punk, but it might as well be.
Can't Stop the Rock.
Can't stop the rock.
No. Do you think The Rock sings this every day when he gets ready in the mirror?
Yes, I
Sings
would.
it to himself. Thor Ragnarok, the latest installment in the Marvel phase. I guess we're in phase 3 now of Marvel.
Wait, what do you mean phase?
You never heard that? Like the Marvel movies are in they do phases. So like Avengers to Avengers 2 was everything up to including Avengers 1 was phase 1. Everything from that up to Avengers 2 was phase 2. Everything after that till now is phase 3.
Let me real quick see if this is Stop the Rock by Apollo 440. 1999 sounds right. Hang on.
All right. Apollo 440. Don't Stop the Rock.
Yeah, that's it. It's like a Fatboy Slim type song.
Play it into the mic.
I am. Start. Jesus Christ.
All right. Who cares?
I do.
It sounds like a down home. Well, don't take it away before it kicks in.
You've heard it.
I've never heard this song in my goddamn life. Literally never once. You just said it was in every movie trailer.
It was in tons of movie trailers. Can't Stop the Rock, and it's everything else I said was right too. Late 90s, sounds like Daft Punk, isn't Daft Punk.
That didn't sound like Daft Punk. That sounded like a Stevie Ray Vaughan got a vocoder kind of a tune.
Everything it's suggesting off of me listening to this is Daft Punk, so it might sound a little bit like Daft Punk.
All right, the voice part does.
Oh Christ!
I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be difficult. Anyway, Phase 3 Marvel, Thor Ragnarok. Let's get down to it. Let's just right off the bat. There will be spoilers. Sorry. Pat, did you like the film?
I don't like any of these films.
That's not true. You've defended them before on here.
I like Doctor Strange.
Ugh.
And by the way, would I ever watch them again? Did I love them? No. I like Guardians of the Galaxy. Fine. 2, fine.
Mm-hmm.
But I hate the DCs. I hate the Marvels. I hate almost all superhero movies. But I love Taika Waititi, who did Hunt for the Wilder People, which I loved with Sam Neill. And then movies that are overrated, but I loved, like What We Do in the Shadows. Have you seen that one?
No.
Well, you might like that. I mean, it's a horror comedy.
Right.
The guy's got an interesting voice. I get excited when they get a director, but really I shouldn't be, because all it means is then they'll never make a good movie again. They're on this wagon of doing shit.
Well, I mean, the reason they pick up these art house directors is because they just tell them what to do.
Probably so.
They're like, we can't bring in a Spielberg or somebody like that to direct Thor because he's going to have demands and we can't control that guy.
Right.
But you go a wide-eyed Tim Burton off of Frankenweenie or whatever the fuck. You want to direct Batman? You know what I mean? It's like they're gonna dictate a lot.
Burton is a perfect example. I mean, he held on to his vision as long as he could and made interesting movies within the studio system. And now, I don't even see his movies when they come. If you had told me when I was 13 that there would become a time where I don't see a new Tim Burton movie, I wouldn't have believed it. But, this guy, very long answer here to what I'm saying is this thing had a 93%, right, critically acclaimed, and I heard that it was hilarious. Like, forget, like, so, okay, already I'm like, well, at least it's not as boring as these other 2 hour, 45-minute slogs. It'll be funny at least. I didn't crack a smile. And to answer your original question, I hated this movie.
Yeah, you tapped out even sooner than I did. Pat turned to me at about the 30-minute mark and said, "This is terrible."
By the way, I hated it, and I liked it more than the other two fucking Thors.
I like the first Thor a lot. I thought they walked the line in the first Thor very well. I thought they did a good job with the first one. I thought the second one looked like an episode of Xena Warrior Princess and was stupid. And this one, look, these fucking movies, nobody, look, I will pat myself on the back for being somebody that's been saying this for a long, long time. I told you these goddamn jokes are going to ruin these fucking movies, and they're ruining the goddamn movie. They're ruined. It's not this.
Well, you're saying I told you, but people love this movie, and it made a tremendous amount of money.
Well, I don't buy the critic response to these things. I am absolutely convinced of one of two things: either A, times are just that shitty.
Yeah.
That this is the base sort of entertainment that even film critics eat up.
Yeah.
Or B, there's a payola thing or something happening because it's Disney and Marvel. And whatever. There's no way this is a fucking 93% movie.
No.
This movie tries to be Flash Gordon, the 80s Flash Gordon. That's a movie that I own on Blu-ray, and I loved it as a kid. Now as an adult, I own it because visually it's fun to look at. But if you said to me, "Is this a good movie?" I'd be like, "Christ, no, it's not a good movie. It's absurd." But so nobody is saying, "Man, it's just fun to look at," and who cares about the plot, which a critic shouldn't be saying anyway.
No.
But they're saying this is a great movie. The people saying that this is hilarious, like I've never seen a movie take so many big swings and misses at jokes.
People I know and like said it was hilarious. Like, right off the bat, and I figured you'd be sighing and huffing and puffing throughout, but I did kind of prep you, and I'm sure you had read that it was supposed to be marketed as a comedy.
You told me to watch it with an open heart.
I did. I don't know why. But at the beginning, when he keeps spinning around on those chains, and then he's like, "Hang on, I got to do another spin on the chains, and I'll come back and talk to you to this devil guy or whatever." I'm like, this is like a long, it's awkward comedy, which generally plays on like The Office or something.
Well, yeah.
And he's spinning, and I'm watching this, and I'm like, they're doing this again. He's going around again for another try at this bit. By the way, the theater was silent.
Yeah.
And this is your first joke. So if you're going to establish yourself as, we're like Deadpool now, we're going to be a straight up comedy, at least your first joke has to work. Then I know you get mad that people are joking in these movies, but to me, I'm like, look, they're running around in tights, throwing hammers through the air and all this other shit. Who cares? But then I have my limits too. When I see a villain, a henchman, he's calling in a command, and they cut back to him, and folks, he's using a shake weight. This is 2 minutes into the movie.
Yeah.
2 minutes in the movie, you got one of your main guy, or he was at least a villain.
Was Carl Urban's character saying that he has used the ice bridge or whatever it's called, the thing in Asgard where they can like travel to any world or whatever. He said that he's been using it to accrue riches.
Yeah.
And then it shows his riches, and it's all like dumb shit. And he says the line, it's like junk, but he thinks it's cool. And then he says,
"Well, I think that was supposed to be a spoof of Spring Breakers, unless I'm wrong."
Spring Breakers?
Yeah, when Franco's like, look at my stuff, and there's a montage where he shows up stuff. That guy said, "Look at my stuff" in Thor Ragnarok.
I don't think that was a nod to Spring Breakers at all, because this is another gripe.
There's a movie I love, folks, Spring Break.
This is a gripe I've had with the last few Marvel movies. You're dealing with people that live in other dimensions and galaxies and whatever the fuck you want to call them.
Right.
And they're using words like stuff. How many times in this movie did somebody say like?
Yeah.
Could you like more of like a weird thing? It's like, this is how the guy in Asgard talks. So
well, that's never gonna. I'd rather that than whatever Anthony Hopkins was doing in the first one. But
no, give me the Asgard talk.
I don't know.
But look, here's the
I don't
thing.
want any of it, but I definitely don't want fucking Thor Ragnarok.
So they have a shake weight joke, which A is not funny just because it's not well done, and then B,
It's also South Park was doing them 10 years ago.
Yeah, it's like the hackiest thing ever. It's like the shake weight. Jesus Christ, guys. So, by the way, two of the things he acquires, then this is always the interesting thing I find with what gets attacked. One of the things this guy acquires are 2 automatic rifles,
Right.
which he then uses heroically at the end of the film to kill all the bad guys.
Yeah.
And I don't remember a review saying once, sort of an odd thing,
Yeah.
we're all kind of saying we need to kind of watch with these guns and everything, but, so I thought that was...
Especially in a world where they all have powers and guns don't ever really need to be involved. I mean, if you can turn into the Hulk and solve any problem, that's why I just don't understand ever getting emotionally invested or getting into these movies at all if the Hulk's involved, and the Hulk's heavily involved in Ragnarok. Folks, they eventually just have to keep making the obstacles larger and larger and larger till the Hulk can't beat them. But everything else, all right, I'll become the Hulk and I'll beat you. And is there a sadder career trajectory than Mark Ruffalo? Go back and watch one of the great performances of 90s cinema, and You Can Count on Me. Mark Ruffalo. Incredible. The next Brando, they called him. And now, every year, he's playing the Hulk 2 or 3 times.
Well,
he said today, he's like, they're like, I thought you said you were training. And he goes, I didn't mean I was trained to fly an alien spaceship. That's how he said the line.
in the movie, not in real life.
In the movie. It was one of the lamest deliveries I've ever seen. And now, especially now that I'm editing episodes, I'm like, I guarantee they were like, oh my God, see if we have another take of that. And I guess they didn't.
Well, let me say this.
Jesus.
I don't agree with your overall take on Mark Ruffalo. I think he still does amazing work. I just think he was fantastic in Spotlight. That was only last year or whatever.
All right, that's true. That's true, Joe.
He still does great stuff, but it breaks my heart to see him in these films because because of the route they've taken with these movies where everything is supposed to be funny. Now you've got everybody trying to be funny. God love Mark Ruffalo. He's not funny. You know what I mean? Like, he's not a funny guy. So then you have him now playing
nobody less funny.
Instead of playing like a sincerely like mentally unstable Bruce Banner like he did in the first Avengers movie, which was very cool. He's now kind of playing it for yucks, and it doesn't work. You got Cate Blanchett doing jokes in this fucking thing. I mean, these are bombs.
Yeah.
Cate Blanchett is one of the most talented and stunning human beings on planet Earth.
She is one of my favorite actresses. She's gorgeous, and she's gorgeous in this movie, for God's sake.
She can't
Jesus Christ.
deliver a goddamn joke.
Well,
why are they?
and
she's the goddess of death, and they got her up there going, "I need you to be my executioner, both to kill people and carry out my will, but mostly to kill people." You know, it's like,
she's doing.
It's terrible.
All these jokes from the shake weight on down are jokes, folks. I think are probably out of the mix on like a good multicam sitcom. Like they got Cate Blanchett going like, did I say that out loud? This kind of stuff. Like stuff that a room would be like, come on, we can't do that really, can we? I don't blame Blanchett because I thought she was a rare bright spot, probably because I just thought she looked great. But
did you see your husband?
No.
I looked him up during the movie. I was like, I got to see who Cate Blanchett's married to. She might be the most stunning woman I've ever seen.
Yeah.
This guy looks like he's a playwright. I mean, it gave me hope.
Okay.
I'm not going to shit on the guy, but he's not who you think Cate Blanchett would be married to.
Sure.
It gave me great hope. I was like, all right, like, you know.
She gets better looking with age. Ruffalo, folks, is bad in this movie. I want to stress that.
It's weird. It's weird. And then here's my biggest. I got to harp on this comedy thing for a while. When jokes are being made every 3 seconds, and then also you're bringing characters back from the dead, Loki back again, Hulk back from the dead. First line Ruffalo says to him, "We thought you were dead." I mean, first line Thor says to him, "We thought you were dead." And then on top of that all, them very carelessly or effortlessly is a better term, getting out of every single situation they're ever put into. There are no stakes.
No.
There are no stakes.
That's what I was trying to get at with the Hulk thing. If you can do that, there aren't stakes.
Yeah, it's just there are no stakes. This is the end of the movie, so this is a big spoiler. As they watch Asgard crumble in flames, and the entire population of Asgard is on this ship because they're going to have to go find a new home or something. By the way, the entire population of Asgard is 78 people.
Right.
So they're all on this ship watching their home crumble in flames. And it's supposed to be this really sad, it's devastating. You're watching your home to be destroyed.
Sure.
And no, you can never go back. And as that's happening, they have this like rock alien guy go, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. If the foundation's good, we can rebuild it. And then the thing crumbles and he goes, nope, foundation's gone. Strike that. And it's like, you're making a joke now? At the like what's supposed to be the emotional climax of the film? What are you doing?
It didn't
God
work.
Damn it.
Emotionally, comedically, action-y, a couple decent action sequences, but decent as far as I'll go. And I couldn't follow the plot for the life of me.
I kind of I understood what was going on. I mean, it was muddied down by a lot of bullshit that didn't need to be in there, but like I understood what was happening. And here's another criticism I have. I really fucking hate now that Jeff Goldblum is in on the joke. Mm-hmm. I don't like it. It's not funny anymore. It was funny on Tim and Eric for some sketches, but now everything Jeff Goldblum does, it's him being like, "Look at me, I'm Jeff Goldblum," and it sucks. It's
didn't laugh once at Goldblum.
It's not interesting. It sucks. Now he's like hamming it up and being weird just to be weird, and it's like
he's doing what Walken eventually did.
Yeah.
Just stops kind of. I mean, I was excited to have Goldblum in it. I haven't seen him in a while, and I was just like, no. It's bad. We spent a lot of time on like Goldblum's planet. There's a lot of non-Thor material for this to be a Thor movie. There'll be 5 minutes go by on Blanchett's planet, or I didn't even know what was going on.
You really didn't, because we were never on Blanchett's planet in this film. But
I consider it intelligence, but maybe it's a problem. But if I'm watching a movie, no matter how complicated it is, if I get the people, if I get their emotions, if I understand the characters, I'm completely on board and I understand it. LA Confidential, first time I saw it, completely followed it for 2.5 hours, was never confused because I got all the characters and their motivations and what they were doing. I understood them, I liked them, I cared about them, etc. But these big, and maybe it's not being a comic book guy, but like these Avengers type deals, man, I just don't give a shit. I don't know how anyone does.
There's nothing to care about.
No.
And, look, I guess this is what everybody wants. I'm not going to go down the Batman v Superman road again.
Thank you.
But I will say this. Everybody goes, it's too dark. It's too dark. Well, as opposed to what? Fucking Family Matters in space?
Right.
Like, Jesus Christ. I think Justice League might hit it up the middle. I feel like they're going to find a balancing act. I'm excited that it's Joss Whedon. When he was involved with the Marvel stuff, it was fucking great. Tonally, it was great.
Did Whedon direct
He directed The Avengers, and he directed Iron Man. No, Favreau directed Iron Man.
Did Whedon direct Justice League?
Yes.
Or is it Zack Snyder?
Well, Snyder had to leave because his daughter committed suicide, tragically. And then Whedon came in and took over. Then they brought in Danny Elfman to score the film. Elfman confirmed that he brought back his Batman music from the Burton films.
Okay.
I think they're going to make a play to sort of tie it back somehow into what we all loved about those original Burton Batman movies.
Hey, I'd be game, but I don't see it happening. I'll go in with an open mind.
I don't know.
Well.
I've watched some clips from Justice League, like, when there is a joke, it's related to the character. Like, for instance, there's a clip from Justice League where the Flash is like, they got to go in and fight a bunch of people, and the Flash is like, and he's scared, and he's like, I don't know how to fight. I was never trained for battle. And he's like, all I do is I push somebody and then I run away really fast. And it's a funny line, because it's suiting for that character. That is the Flash. The Flash is kind of like this smart-assy guy. He's not a fighter, and it makes sense for the fucking character. What they do now with these Marvel films, I mean, these are interchangeable lines. Like these are sight gags. Nothing that Thor says is indicative of Thor anymore. No. And in 1 minute he's going, like, if we had to do it, dude, bro, whatever, and like making some dumb fucking brosif joke or something. And then in the next scene he's going, this was your doing. And it's like, what do you have, a Shakespeare switch that you just turn on and off? It's fucking stupid. It's not consistent. It's dumb.
And how much are they paying Hopkins to get out of bed for this shit?
Whew. Hopkins is, for the first time ever, I thought looked like genuinely old. Like, he's always looked like an old man, like the man in his 70s to me. But he looked like, I was like, man, Hopkins is fucking old, man.
Hopkins, like, Michael Caine still tries. You know, Hopkins does not. He's not giving you anything except years of familiarity with him, so his lines have a little more gravitas. But he barely even puts emphasis in the right spots on his lines.
Hopkins, he's become the guy that's like, I can do this with my eyes closed.
He does.
So he does.
Yeah.
And he just sits there and he goes, it was never a place. It was a people.
Yeah. He's like sitting down looking at that landscape and he's like, remember this place, boys. It's your home. Always remember your home and this beautiful scenery. I'm like, Anthony, we're filming. That's what I used to think about Grenier on Entourage. I'd be like, the cameras are on, Adrian.
That's the best Grenier's got in him. I hate to break it.
No, I know that's the best he's got in.
But Hopkins also does this now, too, a lot. He goes, huh? Huh?
Yeah.
He throws that in everywhere to make it kind of like to give it a quirk or something. But it's
yeah.
Anyway, Thor Ragnarok.
More like Boar Ragnarok.
Better than part 2. Not as good as part 1. Visually fun. Soundtrack was cool.
Visually, I'd say it was a lesser Doc Strange. It was trying to do the same kind of neon and mushroom trippy kind of things, but not as effectively.
I thought they did a good job of capturing that sort of the adventures of what's that movie with Peter Weller from the 80s?
RoboCop?
No, that's actually Kroll. Like those
I've never seen
80s
Kroll.
like fantasy movie. Like they did a good job of capturing the sort of visual spirit of that thing.
Sure.
So I did like that aspect of it. Didn't give a fuck about the action sequences at all. And, by the way, whether you're Thor or not, you can't just stand on top of a jet moving at 300 miles per hour or however fucking fast a spaceship goes.
Right.
You get blown off of it. Like it's just shit like that where it's just like, guys, have some rules to this. Like have some logic to adhere to, so I care about the character. There's no danger. So anyway, movie sucked, but was better in my opinion than the last one. And I did like it better than Doctor Strange.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I fucking hated Doctor Strange. I hated it.
Doctor Strange, so much better than Thor, any of the Thors.
I hated that film.
Doc Strange pops up in Thor Ragnarok for like another. That's the other thing, too, is like, okay, now when any of these other characters enter your shitty movie, they all have to kind of lose their personalities as well to suit what movie they're in.
What do you mean?
Like Doctor Strange and him are kind of like also like riffing and...
That's why I hated Doctor Strange. He does that through the whole Doctor Strange movie.
Yeah, there's a few. But...
No, he does it through the entire fucking movie. Everybody in Doctor Strange makes jokes. Even the guy that that's our Wi-Fi password. It's like, Jesus Christ.
We talked about that.
Yeah, I know. So it's every character now is written like Tony Stark. Every single character now is written like Tony Stark.
Well, fucking Hulk is actually dressing in Tony Stark's goddamn clothes. And then they have for the last third of the movie, Ruffalo's tugging on his dick because Iron Man wears too tight of pants. That's his runner is Mark Ruffalo shuffling around, mumbling and pulling on his dick. What a piece of shit.
We didn't even stay for the hidden scene.
This stuff's coming out in November now. This used to be confined to the summer. Now in November, Thor Ragnarok's coming out?
Well, because they got to get Black Panther out in December or whatever the hell that's coming out.
We saw 5 trailers for Marvel movies.
Yeah, then the next one will
Take
be out
a
January.
break.
It's too much.
They need one to just tank, but it won't happen.
No, it's too much. So, that's Thor Ragnarok for you folks. And this is We'll See You in Hell. I'll be this week, Austin, Texas, at the front door, something door, son of a bitch. I can't remember anything anymore. Everything is gone. I'll be in Austin, Texas this week. Look on my Instagram for the venue name. It's the something door. The 15th. That's Wednesday. Friday night, I'll be at Hyenas in Fort Worth. That's the 17th. And then the 18th and 19th, I'll be in Houston at the Come and Take It festival, which is being held at the Secret Group. That's the name of the facility. Follow me on Instagram, Joe DeRosa Comedy. And thank you for supporting our Patreon.
Yes.
Pat, do your plugs, and then we get into some shout-outs.
Folks, I will be at my house or at work. I am on Twitter and Instagram at the Patrick Walsh, and I play bass for Apollo 440, the band that did Can't Stop the Rock.
All right. Shout-out time. You should stop that now. There you go. So we can do the shout-outs.
I was going to make it background music.
I don't know if it's going to sound that great. Let's not do that.
I don't think they can hear that.
Let's just give the respectful
It's such a good song.
It's not a good song. That sounds dog shitty to me.
All right, well, it seems like somebody wants to stop the rock. His name's Joe.
Shout-outs. Thank you all. Mr. Derek Clark, thank you. Anthony V. Menito, a.k.a. Party McFly. Philip Rashad. Joshua Christensen. Barbara Allen. Jonathan Face. Rebecca Cohen. Smelly Bubbles. Ooh, we have a new contender for best name ever.
Probably not a real name.
Chris Bowen. Mike Gibbons. Danye Joyce. Michael Dawson. Jennifer Smith. Luke Henderson. Hader Ismail. Nick Walther. Lee Vaughn. Don't be ridiculous. Somebody's name, their name is Don't Be Ridiculous. Uh-huh. That's good stuff. Good for you, whoever did that. Connor Dennehy. Michael, just a Michael.
Okay.
Stephen Koopa, Kevin. Holy shit. How do you say that name? Swistowicz? Sorry, buddy, if I said that wrong. That's a tough one. Thomas Koza, Anthony J. Guajardo, Annie Johansson. No, that's not right. Annie Johannesson, Timmy K., Sean Florin, Dolores Martinez, Will Foley, Megan Lybrand, Scott Blickensderfer, Alec Walker, Brett Wemmer, Tristan Carlson, Laura Sexton, Anthony Guajardo. Again, didn't we just do him? Yeah, those two. Is it the same guy? It must be. Maybe not. The other guy has a J in his name. Maxwell Ashcroft, Brett Klinkner, Alex Lowe, Ethan Whittet. Sorry, guys, I'm doing my best here. Weston Thomas.
I'm looking at it right now because he tweeted at me. Is it Vidhill? HVIDHYID?
Yeah.
He says, against all odds, it's pronounced Vidhill.
Okay.
And thank you for your kind words, Weston.
Thank you, Weston. Jared Blair, Josh Smallridge, Richie Verdugo, Chris Hopper, Emily Rosenbaum, Emily Florence, Sean L., Jordan Parker, Dave Komorik, Abby Manuel. Hello, Abby. Kim D'Angelo, Michael Whitset. That's another repeat. That's weird. Right? Didn't I say that one
Unless they're
already?
donating twice. I'm not looking at what you're looking
If you're donating twice, thank you twice. That's amazing. And if you're donating once, thank you again. Jonathan Gallant. Old Ben No Bottoms. Very nice reference to the Pete Holmes show when I talked about... it's a Pete Holmes show reference. We can't get into it right now, but it involved me, and thank you. Carla O. Mike Wills. Stephanie Power. Hunter McDonald. Sterling Abrigo. Giron Sanderson. Diego Campos. Jake Ferrote, or Ferrote, I'm not sure which it is. Stefan Masha. Zoe Blazkiewicz. Edmund Dillon. Asley, oh my lord, Kavinisland? Are you looking at these?
I don't even know where you're at, where you're looking.
I'm on the Patreon page.
Oh.
We're not making fun of your name. Some of these are just hard to say. I think that's Asley Kavinisland, Dan McLeod, Brandon Gash, Lorenz Bunganiers, Alejandro Salgado, Papa Spoosh, Tegan McLeod, Matthew Little, Tracy Reddington, Sean Thomas, Amanda Alzamora, Jason Weibel, Michael Curry, Drew Spindler, Andrew Koval, Sam Mitchell, Aaron Malinowski, Scott Nolan, Jack Gertz, Greg Sorensen, Benjamin Tahia, Misty Zavar, Brandon Knock, Brandon Webb, Don Dajne Wilford, Johnny Ferg, Matthias Paguay. Paguay? One of those, right? Superfan Giovanni, Michael Gold, Danielle Dewar, Eric Lamora, Michael Madrigal. Go visit Mr. Suit Records if you're in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. It's a great store. My buddy Mike owns it and runs it. Stephen Reese, Walter Keegan, Kevin Massernick, Erica Branning, Lawrence Anderson, Jared Smallridge, Zach Schoendorf, Will Potorf, Natalie Craig, Nathan Baskett, Edmund Agabeo, Anthony, just Anthony, Kyle Kinsland, Brooke Adams, the man whose name we cannot speak. I'm going to skip that one. Ani Babadook, Scott Patton, Barbama, B-A-R-B-E-M-A, Barbama, Emma Lee Marvel, Robert Pearson, MySpace Mike, Michael Aiello, Max Unrath, Dominique Bander, Heighton Davidson, Brian England, and John Weissengruber.
Woo!
I'm overwhelmed. That is a lot of people.
Tons. Thank you, everybody.
That's really amazing. Thank you, everybody. We can't thank you enough. It's so nice. Folks, I believe we'll see you next week. And Patty.
And I believe we'll see you in hell.
That was a HeadGum podcast.